I knew my mother was about to betray me the second she said the word legacy. You know how some words just hit your nervous system wrong? Like your body reacts before your brain can catch up? That was me, standing in the middle of the Drake Hotel ballroom, holding a champagne flute so cold it burned my fingers, while heat crept up my spine like someone had lit a match at the base of it. 200 guests. Crystal chandeliers, a string quartet in the corner playing something soft and expensive, the kind of wedding where even the napkins have posture. And there was my mother, Cynthia, glowing at the front of the room like she was accepting a humanitarian award instead of giving a toast at her younger daughter's wedding. For Ashley's special day, she said into the microphone, her voice trembling just enough to sound sincere, I wanted to give something meaningful, something that reflects our family's legacy. I nearly laughed. Legacy. In our family, that word meant manipulation wrapped in pearls. She reached into a cream-colored envelope and pulled out a document. I didn't see the paper clearly yet, but I knew. I knew in my gut. I am gifting Ashley and Julian the Kensington penthouse, she announced, effective immediately. The applause was thunderous. People stood. Someone actually whistled. Ashley squealed, hands flying to her face, diamonds flashing under the chandeliers. Julian wrapped an arm around her waist and grinned like he'd just closed a 7-figure deal. Because he had. Except it wasn't hers to give, and it wasn't theirs to receive. The Kensington penthouse was purchased 3 years ago under my LLC. My money, my signature, my risk. And my mother had just publicly handed it away like a scented candle. I didn't move. I didn't blink. I took one slow sip of champagne and let the bubbles sting my tongue while my mind began organizing the situation the way it always does, like columns in a ledger. Asset. Kensington penthouse. Owner, Argus Holdings. Controller, me. Liability, mother's delusion. Unknown variable, Julian. Before I go any further, tell me something in the comments. Where are you listening from? And what time is it there right now? I always wonder who's awake with me when these stories unfold, because what happened next, it deserved witnesses. Now here's the part about me my family never understood. They think I'm boring. Tegan and her spreadsheets, Ashley used to joke. She probably dreams in Excel. What they don't know, what my mother never cared to know, is that I'm a forensic accountant specializing in financial crimes. I trace money the way bloodhounds trace scent. I see patterns most people don't even realize exist, and I do not make emotional decisions. I make strategic ones, so while the room celebrated, I watched Julian. He wasn't looking at Ashley. He was staring at the document in my mother's hand, not admiring it, calculating it. His jaw was tight, his fingers tapped against the table in a restless rhythm. There was a fine sheen of sweat along his hairline, and the ballroom was freezing. That's when something clicked. Because a man marrying for love looks at his bride. A man marrying for leverage looks at the paperwork. 10 years ago, my mother sat me down at our old kitchen table and told me she'd emptied my college fund. Ashley needed a car. She has to keep up with her friends, Mom had said. You'll figure it out. You're the smart one. Ashley totaled that car in 3 months. I worked 2 waitressing jobs and a campus tutoring gig to put myself through school. I remember studying in the back office of a diner at 2 a.m., smelling like fries and exhaustion, promising myself I would never need them again. And I kept that promise. So no, I wasn't about to cause a scene in a ballroom full of society photographers. I slipped my phone out of my clutch and stepped toward the edge of the room, near a marble column. I logged into a secure database I have access to for work. Nothing dramatic, just verification. Julian's name. Search. It took less than 5 seconds. Active inquiry. Financial irregularities. Cross-border transfers flagged. My pulse didn't spike. It slowed. Interesting. Very interesting. Because suddenly, this wasn't about favoritism. It was about motive. My mother found me a few minutes later near the raw bar, gripping my elbow tight enough to wrinkle my dress. Fix your face, she whispered sharply. You look hostile. I am hostile, I replied evenly. You just gave away property you don't own. Her expression didn't change. That was the part that chilled me. Don't be dramatic, she said. It's family. Family. That word has bankrupted more women than bad investments ever have. You have more than enough, she continued, lowering her voice. Ashley is struggling. She's drowning in debt. Julian has business pressures. This gives them stability. How generous of you to redistribute my assets. You never even used that place, because I bought it strategically, not sentimentally. She leaned in closer, and I caught the scent of her perfume, gardenia, and something sharp underneath. You could help your sister without making a fuss. Just sign as witness. Smile. Let her have one thing. One thing. It was always whatever I had built. I looked at her for a long moment and felt something shift inside me. Not anger, not sadness. Clarity. Okay, I said softly. Let's finalize it. Her shoulders relaxed instantly. She thought she'd won. We walked back toward the head table. Julian was hovering over the document now, pen in hand, eyes darting between the deed and the guests. I stepped beside him. Congratulations, I said lightly. That penthouse is impressive. He smiled too quickly. It's a blessing. Oh, absolutely, I said. You should sign right away. Lock it in. Markets shift. His hesitation flickered for half a second, then greed smoothed it over. He signed. The pen scratched across the paper with a soft, decisive sound. And that's when I sent the text. Just one line to a contact saved under a neutral name. It's done. See, here's what no one at that wedding knew. Argus Holdings isn't just a shell company. It's a monitored entity. 2 years ago, during an investigation into offshore transfers linked to import businesses in Chicago, Julian's company came across my radar. Patterns of structured deposits, layered transactions. It wasn't enough for prosecution yet, but it was enough to watch. So when my own mother bragged months ago about Ashley dating a brilliant entrepreneur in international trade, I did what I always do. I ran numbers, and I quietly placed a compliance alert on any major asset transfer involving my holdings, including the Kensington. I didn't expect my mother to forge documents. I underestimated her. But when the signed deed triggered the alert, it didn't just notify me. It notified federal compliance partners already monitoring linked entities. Julian capped the pen and exhaled like he'd just won something. My mother clapped. To new beginnings, she announced. Actually, I said, raising my voice just enough, before we toast, the room quieted, that subtle shift in air when people sense tension. I just want to confirm something, I continued, calm and steady. Julian, you're accepting transfer of Kensington under Argus Holdings, correct? He frowned slightly. Yes. And you're aware that Argus Holdings is currently under active financial review due to its involvement in a federal tracing operation? The silence was instant. Ashley blinked. What? Julian's face drained of color. My mother looked at me like I'd slapped her. You're joking, Julian said. I didn't smile. No, I'm not. And right on cue, because timing matters, a pair of men in suits stepped into the ballroom from the side entrance. Not dramatic, not storming, just inevitable. I won't describe the rest in sensational detail, because honestly, it wasn't dramatic in the way movies are. It was procedural. Questions asked quietly, documents examined, Julian escorted, not dragged, outside for discussion. Ashley crying in confusion, my mother demanding explanations that weren't owed to her. The wedding didn't explode. It imploded, slowly, like a chandelier losing crystals one by one. Ashley kept saying there must be a mistake. Julian avoided eye contact, and my mother, she turned on me in the hallway. You did this, she hissed. No, I replied calmly. He did. You just handed him the rope. Her hand lifted like she might slap me, then dropped when she realized people were watching. You're heartless. No, I said quietly. I just don't subsidize fraud. The thing about boundaries? People who benefited from your lack of them will call you cruel when you finally draw one. I left before dessert. In the valet line, my phone buzzed with updates I didn't need to read to understand. Asset freeze confirmed pending investigation. Transfer invalidated. The penthouse was never really at risk, but my illusions were. Driving away from the Drake, I didn't feel victorious. I felt still, like a lake after a storm. Because here's the truth I've learned the hard way. Sometimes the most powerful revenge isn't destruction, it's refusal. Refusing to finance dysfunction, refusing to play savior, refusing to shrink so someone else can feel tall. I blocked my mother's number that night, and Ashley's, not out of spite, out of preservation. And if you're listening to this thinking, I could never do that to my family, I get it. I used to think that too, but loyalty without reciprocity isn't love, it's self-erasure. And I'm done disappearing. If this story hit somewhere tender for you, if you've ever been the responsible one, the strong one, the one expected to clean up everyone else's mess, then you're not alone. Subscribe to Her Untold Revenge, because we tell the stories women whisper about, but rarely say out loud. And share this with someone who needs the reminder that protecting your peace isn't cruelty, it's clarity. Tell me in the comments, have you ever had to choose between family and your own future? And what did you choose? I'll see you in the next one.